Hi and welcome to this week's video. In this video we start getting the engine bulkhead side sorted out. We don't quite get it finished because I go out and play, but you've probably seen that video if I've managed to edit it on Saturday. So hey ho, let's see where we got up to. I've made up the new stop. If you recall previous video, this one here is just too big, well, by about sort of 5mm all around. I've made the hole 10mm in each direction, so it's really small, but it allowed me to cut this out to get just the right size, and we'll see how much actually needs to come out. We'll say filing this is quite a pain, so but, you know, I can Dremel most of it and then just do the corners. So that's cured that little mistake I made. Just applying some varnish to the underside of this access panel hatchway. I've put masking tape down each side here because that's where it's going to be glued against the stringer. So once this has had 2 full coats of varnish, I'll remove the tape and we'll be ready to fit. Well, I will have to do a little bit of I'm going to do a bit of varnish in the area on the other side of this, so I can actually rivet on the anchor nuts. That's will be done in a bit. Okay, so I've varnished inside this area here. I haven't done the outside flat area, but I've done the inside area here just so I could put the rivets in, so it's sealed for the rivets, even though that's been hardened with cyanoacrylate super glue just to make it firm. But I have the anchor nuts now in place. This whole side has been done by the strip down each side, which you saw with the masking tape. And now this fits in nicely into there, and the screws can go through and be tightened down with a screwdriver. It's a bit hard to do because of the anchor nuts are stiff nuts, but that all fits together quite pleasantly. And this is the front edge this way, going into wind. The idea is that as the airflow goes over, it's trying to hold the lid or the access panel into place, and the screws are just stopping it from flopping out. If I had it the other way and the screw became loose, that could lift into the airflow, could cause damage to the surrounding area. So this way it's less likely to cause any damage. I'm going to take this little access panel off. It's been varnished on both sides, ready to go for covering when I get round to covering, but I'm going to just bond this section into place on the aircraft itself. So I'm going to cut into or sand into the stringers, the 1/16 that this is made out of. We'll get it clamped and bonded, and we're ready to go. So 1/8 here and here for to allow for wear and tear, just 1/16 here for us to sit on, 1/16 for the panel itself, the little cover panel, and the outside. That's my methodology for this access. Okay, let's crack on. So the whole area has been varnished. I've just sanded back, as I sort of said here, the 1/16 inch, well 1.8mm, the thickness of the ply I'm using here, 1.8mm all the way along on both sides, so that this can now sit down nicely into place, and bond that in. Presently there's a little bit of wiggle room there. The reason for doing all the varnishing around here is just to help life out, you know, getting around and pre-sorting out for the holes going through, for where the nylon is. It just makes all that work a lot easier doing it before that cover plate goes on. And then once, so it's had the 2 coats, once all this lot is ready for covering, and I've got the extra bits of ply which will be coming up to cover up the U channel slightly for the covering to be able to stick to, and that the whole lower side of the fuselage here will be sprayed with the varnish, just to make sure it's got a full coat before it gets the covering going on it. Hey ho, that's at some stage in the future. At the moment, just allows to make sure I've got protection, and that's also main reason for doing, or big reason for doing the bottom of this. When I did, it's even spraying, it's going to get hard to get to the bottom face, or the top face as it would be when it's actually on the aircraft, of this, to make sure that it's got a sufficient coating to protect the wood. Right, I'm going to bond this into place, and then we can get on with something else. Well, here is the engine mount on the front plate. I've just drawing around the inside of the holes. I don't need to cut this out quite the same way as you would do normally, because there's no accessory plate or anything going on at the back here, and this will be stood off by a couple of inches, but it allows me to have an idea of where the centre is. Now I've got this piece here, this hole, it will need to be cut right the way through the firewall, going back for the starter. I'm just going to grab a compass, something over over the radius, and I'll just do the sort of standard marking method, which just helps us find the center point. Yeah, all confirmed. So that's the center point there, and the diameter of the actual starter motor hole itself is 3¼ inches. I'm actually going to bore this one to 3¼ inches to start off with, but on the back plate I'm going to make it 3½ inches, and then I'll route this open to that 3½ inches, and that allows for movement on the plate, the engine movement here during startup and running and things like that, as this is on rubber mount. So I need to allow a little bit of room so that the starter motor isn't going to be rattling against that, and I can then make up a tube as well to go back in, so I've got a firewall still going into the aircraft. Otherwise, big hole, what's the point having a firewall? And that's something which on the actual Fisher plans, they have a big accessory hole cut right the way through, and it's not shown as it being capped off at all, so it's pointless putting a plate, a steel, galvanised steel firewall plate on, which is what they supply. If you've got a big hole in the middle of it, it just lets if there's a fire in the engine bay, it just allows it still to roar straight through to the front of the fuel tank. And there's no mention of actually making something to cap it off. So I'm not quite sure what they normally do. Right, anyway, I'm going to drill through here to get the marking onto this little beastie. I'm going to make sure I've got that the right way around. Rear, right, like that. Got the bolt hole bit there, that goes through, and so drill through, we'll get everything sorted. I've got these holes to act as guides as well, and then from there we can work out what else is going on. Rear plate, the hole cut out 3½ inches, and I've just cut out this section here just to lighten the whole system up. It's not doing anything structural because the mounting points are out here. Saves me the weight of glue that I have to glue this on, and that piece of wood. So there we are. This is now ready to be bonded into place, and then I'll crack on and start doing a bit of work on the front firewall plate. The rear bulkheads section is being bonded in. I've put in screws there going into the marker holes which I'd already drilled before, so that's helping to clamp it. I've got the top bolt there, clamping it together. I've just bored through here, so I could actually clamp. That's where the starter motor hole would be. So looking on the inside, you sort of see there's a starter motor hole, and everything is all bonded into place and clamped. So when that cures off, we'll be doing quite well. Had good squeeze out everywhere. Took 4 ounces of glue, quarter of a pound of glue, to just get that one piece on. It would have taken another ounce or so to if we'd had the hole there had been full. So it just gives you an idea, you know, quite a chunk of glue. That's how much I made, 5 ounces, but I have got nearly an ounce which I've scraped off afterwards. So 4 ounces, quarter of a pound glue. It just shows how quickly glue adds up in weight. Well, here's the front, the firewall engine mounting piece. This hole is only 3 inches in diameter at the moment. I'll use an edge router and I'll go around this so it matches the hole on the rear bulkhead plate, and that should make it 3.5 inches in diameter. This is the cutout for this particular plate to save weight. You'll note that if I put the engine rear plate on, although it doesn't fit like that, there's still a little piece of section there. That shouldn't be any issue at all. I may have to do a little bit of a recess up here and down here for the magneto coils. I'm not sure yet until I've created the standoffs for this to sit on. As you may be able to see, where it's got the finish hole and things like that, I've routed around the edge just to round that off. Just makes things a little bit neater, and we're ready to go. I may stick just a single coat of varnish on here for the time being, just to help seal this little lot up, but we'll find out in a bit. Well, that's it for this week. We've got both sides of the bulkhead, most of the material cut out, the rear bulkhead section bonded in, so we've made some good progress there. Inspection panel made up for the bottom. So going forward, we're going to complete the bulkhead work as much as we can and start doing the support work inside. Hopefully we'll get that done next week. Well, hopefully we'll get some more flying in, but we'll find out what happens. So catch you next time. Bye. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up. You can subscribe or even hit the little bell notification for future videos. Any comments would be appreciated, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Remember, go fly and feel the sky.